All right, so we talked about the parts of an atom, what makes an element, and so on and so forth. Next up, we're going to take a look at the periodic table and see how this helps us organize our elements. And so the periodic table is very wisely organized, and it's organized such that similar elements are in the same group. And by group, what I mean here is the column. So the vertical columns, if something's in the same vertical column, it will be chemically similar to one another. So for example, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon are all very chemically similar to one another because they're all part of the same group. So we have group 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Sometimes you'll see the transition metals omitted, and group 13 will instead be called group 3A. So for example, you see boron here is called 3A, carbon is 4A, nitrogen is 5A, so on and so forth. Depends on which periodic table you're looking at. So let's take a look at the different groups and what they are called. So first up, in this hydrogen and lithium group, hydrogen's a little weird, but that's okay. Everything in this group is an alkali metal. Next up, we have beryllium and below. This is what's known as an alkali earth metal. And then in this big block here, all of these are called the transition metals. After the transition metal, we have the group containing boron and aluminum. And unfortunately, this one doesn't really get its own name, so it's usually just called the boron group. Same thing after here, we have carbon. It's just called the carbon group. It doesn't really get any name. After that, we have nitrogen and its group. Nitrogen and its group are called the pnictogens, but it's spelled a little weird. It's pnictogens, Gens. The P is silent, so it's pnictogens, not pnictogens or anything like that. You don't have to know that one. After that, we have oxygen. Which is part of the chalcogens. And then we have fluorine over here and below. These are the halogens. And then you have neon and below. These are what's known as the noble gases. So I'd like you to know alkali metal, alkali earth, halogens, and noble gases. You don't have to memorize pnictogens or chalcogens. And then if you take a look at the periodic table, we have these two rows below. So they're organized a bit differently. In this top row, we have what are known as the lanthanides. And then below, we have what are known as the actinides. So there are your groups of elements. And so everything in the same group is going to be chemically similar to one another. And we'll see how shortly.